Good evening. Welcome to this meeting of the Common Council of the City of Huntington for April 29th, 2025. Prior to the beginning of the business meeting this evening, I will lead us in an invocation, followed by Julie Shearer leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Those who wish to participate in either may rise at this time. Please bow with me. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks this evening for the blessing it is to gather together in service to our neighbors. Lord, we pray that your Holy Spirit would guide and direct our hearts, our minds, our actions, and our words this evening. Everything we think, say, and do would honor and glorify you on behalf of our neighbors. Lord, we thank you for the safety of those affected by the fire just a moment ago on Charles Street. We thank you that it's been able to be contained and not spread to the neighbors. We give you thanks, Lord, for our public safety respondents who look out for us in our hour of need. Father, we give you thanks this evening and pray that you'd be glorified in all that we think, say. Thank you. And with that, then, we will call the business meeting to order, beginning with a roll call. Julie?
Brodigan?
Present.
Chapman?
Present.
Felton?
Present.
Funk?
Present.
Johnson?
Here.
Pike? Rensberger?
Present.
Thank you. And having established a quorum for the conducting of city business, we'll move along to our first item on the agenda regarding public hearings for this evening. In the interest of full transparency and disclosure, due to a clerical error in notice, we are redoing the public hearings or establishing a public hearing for Ordinance 7C25, followed by a separate public hearing for Ordinance 9C25 before we proceed in moving forward with this. So at this time, I will open the public hearing regarding Ordinance 7C25, water rates and charges. Are there any members of the public here to address council on the matter of the water rate changes that are being proposed this evening? Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we will close the public hearing on Ordinance 7C25. And moving along on the agenda, we will open the public hearing on Ordinance 9C25 regarding an alley vacation. Are there any members of the public here to address council on the matter of an alley vacation? You'll have an opportunity to address council later when we do it. Yep, but you're good, so. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we will close the public hearing regarding Ordinance 9C25, the alley vacation, and move along to consideration of the minutes of the previous meeting of April 8th, 2025. Is there a motion to bring the minutes to the floor for consideration and adoption?
So move. Second.
We have a motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes from April 8th. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption. Julie?
Chapman?
Yes.
Felton?
Yes.
Funk?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Rensberger?
Yes.
Brodigan?
Yes.
Thank you. And moving along to reports from committees, boards, or commissions. Charlie?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Dwight?
Yes, actually, Lime City Economic Development met 3 weeks ago, maybe, out at Sortera Technologies, which is out by Markle in the Markle Industrial Park. Very interesting, fast-growing business, not part of the city, obviously, but still quite interesting and good to know the work that they're doing. Their revenue, I think they said, was at this point, this year was about 12 times what it was last year, 12 months. So really growing. It's a cool business.
Thank you, Dwight. PJ?
Nothing this week.
Todd?
Nothing here.
Andrew?
Nothing to report.
David? Emma, anything from that Viking thing?
Yeah, so our school year is coming to an end. We have about 18 days left, I think, not that I'm counting. But with that, that also means that that Viking thing of the year is coming to an end too. So right now we're just working on the final details for our project and presenting that on the city council meeting on May 13th. So yeah, we're just working through final details, learning as much as we can before our year sadly comes to an end, so.
Thank you. Moving along on the agenda, Charlie, do you have any petitions or comments from citizens?
Not this evening, thank you.
Julie, have you received anything? Under old business, first item is second and final reading of ordinance 5C25, an additional appropriation for MVH. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration and adoption on second and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Julie?
Ordinance 5C25. This ordinance, if adopted, would provide additional funding to MVH Fund Motor Equipment 2201-019-441.
Further discussion and consideration by council members? Superintendent Bischoff here with us if you have any questions for him. Follow up from the previous meeting. Not seeing or hearing any further discussion, we'll call the question in favor of adoption on second and final reading of ordinance 5C25. Julie?
Felton,
Yes.
Funk,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Rensberger,
Yes.
Brottigam,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is second and final reading of ordinance 6C25. Julie?
Ordinance 6C25. This ordinance, if adopted, would provide additional funding to opioid fund unrestricted 2256-001-900 and restricted 2257-001-900.
Is there a motion to bring ordinance 6C25 to the floor for second and final reading?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Again, for council and the public's benefit on this, this is of course a matter of pass-through and honoring the city's commitment with the Community Foundation, the town of Warren, and the county commissioners to utilize our opioid funds through grant programs run by the Community Foundation and a committee of folks in the community. Further discussion and consideration by council members? Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption on second and final reading of ordinance 6C25. Julie?
Funk,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Rensberger,
Yes.
Brottigam,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Felton.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is second and final reading of ordinance 7C25. Julie?
Ordinance 7C25. This adopts section 50.10, water rates, increasing the rates and charges applicable to user rates, hydrants, and fire protection systems.
Thank you. Is there a motion to bring ordinance 7C25 to the floor for consideration and adoption on second and final reading?
So move. Second.
I have a motion and second. Bring it to the floor. This evening, we have Jeff Rao from Baker Tilly, as well as Anthony Goodnight from Lockmuller Engineering, and I'll invite both of them forward to share updates since the previous time council addressed the matter, and then, of course, any discussion that council may have on the subject or feedback you've received from constituents. So, Anthony?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anthony Goodnight, Lockmuller Group. Glad to be in front of you again. Wish I had a summer break coming. Days. I got like 30 years, right? Just kind of wanted to go over real quickly again what the process is going to be for this new water plant and new wells out at South Wellfield, and then kind of talk about a little bit of the water quality at the same time. So, this project, as we kind of mentioned last time, there's really two phases. The first phase is this initial phase, which is going to be for design of the water plant, Wellfield. Design of some raw water pump station that's currently out there, doing some of the preliminary work that's going to be necessary to find out what the water quality is on the two new wells. We already know what they are on the other existing 5 wells that are out there, and we'll be doing that. We'll be looking at that, kind of trying to figure out with the manufacturers what the water quality ultimately will be like. One of the things that we're going to look at is softening at a very high level to see if we can do that at this level or at this new water plant. That hasn't been done since, I think, the 90s last time that they had softening at the South Water Plant, they had some clear cones out there. They were taken out of service due to some lime issues. But we'll be looking at new technologies that's advanced since that time. We'll be looking at other water quality requirements as well. Obviously, you guys got a lot of iron in the water, so we'll need to take that out. There is some manganese out at the South Water Plant as well that will be taken out with the iron. So we'll be taking a look at that in this initial phase. Once we get done with the initial phase, which will be the design of the water plant, that water plant will be bid out, as well as, you know, putting well houses up and getting those online. So that project probably be about a year from now, I'd imagine, on when that's all going to happen. And then, you know, we'll have the final numbers in, and I think the final rates can be established at that time. So kind of got to go in steps so we can make sure that we get this thing done correctly and done right for you guys. Is there anything else you wanted me to address, Mayor?
Thank you, Anthony. Questions by council members? Anything further for Anthony from Lockmiller?
What percentage of water will two more wells add to our total?
We're hoping
At
with
10, 20?
percent. I'd have to look. I know we're expecting them to produce about 1,000 gallon a minute. I'll look and see if I have a percentage.
I guess I don't even know how much water we actually use now, but you were stating 2020, which the only problem I had with that is that was COVID when everybody was home. So I don't know that we'll have that issue
Right.
again. But I just want to make sure we're,
So that's what this first initial phase is. We're going to take a look at the last few years. We're going to take a look at the last 10 years. We're going to make sure that whatever we build is going to be what is needed for the city, right? You know, we did talk about 2020, and they were high years. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have high years in the future, right? So we need to take a look at that, working with the city and Adam and the mayor, and making sure that the numbers that we're going to build is the right number. That's why we got to get to this first phase, get to that step to make sure that we're building the right thing. And I'm with you, Todd. I want to make sure the number's right. I don't want to build something that's extravagant that you don't need.
yeah,
We're going to look at the most recent data,
yeah.
and we're going to project out, right? So we need to project a little bit what development might happen.
Yeah, just to add a point that I also learned at the last Lime City Economic Development meeting, there's a 400-unit apartment complex coming up past the theaters up in that area. So there's additional water usage that we have to provide for.
Those are things that we're going to want to know when we start looking at this.
Yep.
Projections of what we'll take like a future land use map and try to lay that out and say, okay, here's the areas that the city's primed to grow, and what does that flow look like, and make sure that we're getting the right number in there.
Further discussion or questions by council members? Okay, not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption on second and final reading of ordinance 7C25. Julie?
Johnson?
I wasn't done talking. That was just his presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're correct, Todd. My
I wasn't ready
apologies. I'll rescind the call here. We still need Jeff Rao to come up and present. My apologies, Todd. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Good evening. Just want to provide a brief update on the financing end of things. So things are proceeding well. The city had a successful pre-closing last week, I believe it was, with the state revolving fund loan program. And so we were just kind of going through final checklists, and everything appears to be in order. We did also want to just update you all on some happenings with the interest rate. As everyone I'm sure is aware, you know, the bond market and just the stock market in general has really been up and down of late with the geopolitical matters going on. And so, you know, starting April 1st, every quarter, SRF updates their interest rates based on kind of the last 30 days in terms of what's happening in the market. And they did increase, starting April 1st, they increased their interest rate matrix by about 42 basis points. So what that means for the city is an increase in the rate. However, we were able to work with SRF and Anthony's team to actually arrive at a lower rate through the Green Project Reserve component of their program. So to summarize, the original interest rate that we assumed that was in effect at the time that we finished the rate study was 2.36%. With the rate increase, interest rate increase, starting effective April 1st, that rate went up to 2.78%. Pretty big jump there. So through the GPR program, the SRF allows for a maximum 50 basis points, a 0.5% reduction if we have qualifying project costs qualify for the Green Project Reserve. So as I mentioned before, Anthony's team was great at providing the information that was needed to SRF to justify the maximum 50 basis point reduction, and SRF was great as well at working with us and essentially allowing for the full credit there. So was 2.78%. We are closing on a rate of 2.28%. So the difference in terms of that rate over the life of the bonds is about $550,000. So pretty pleased with that. Appreciate Anthony's efforts, appreciate SRF's willingness to work with the city on that, and appreciate the savings that the city will be able to achieve. So that's really the update on the interest rate side and the process. We are scheduled to close the city's scheduled to close on May the 6th. And at that point, then the city will have access to those funds and begin construction soon after. With that, happy to answer any questions.
Don?
I got no questions for him.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. And just to clarify that for everyone's sake, Jeff, the interest rate that we're talking about there, that 2.28% is on just the first portion of this. It's not dealing with the final major construction that's still yet to come back to council for those numbers and figures, correct?
Correct. Just phase one. And again, that doesn't apply to the principal forgiveness ban that is at 0% and will not be required to repay. So that's just the traditional loan portion only.
Okay.
Yep.
Further question or discussion on the financials? Thank you, Jeff.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. So I went and checked a few rates, not like our next door neighbors, but Brownsburg has a $57.59 water and sewer rate together. Rensselaer has $40 in water, $70 in sewer. So they're going to be more closer to what we will be down the road if you guys vote for this. Fort Wayne has $29.65 for water and $57.24 for sewer, which is about, like, in my house, it's just me and my wife. So we pay $30 for water and then $60 for sewer right now. So that's about right where we are now. And then Fort Wayne also has a $590 for storm. So I don't know if they have a fire hydrant, but it's for storm. And then Gas City has a $66 combined. So my big concern is we have a lot of people in this town that are on fixed incomes, and $25 if after all three phases, my bill will be $55 and $60, okay, a month. And then I understand if it's in really bad shape, but when I asked Anthony last time we were here, I said, what's more important, the wells or the plant? He said the wells. Well, the wells, according to what I heard, was about $1 million a piece. I really think that if we did this, and I know you guys are going to vote for it, so I'm just venting, okay? But I think that if we did it in phases, did the wells first, waited a couple of years for this, because we've been told that we want a new fire station next year, which is going to be more money. If we do that, do the wells first, wait a couple of years, then fix the plant. By then, with all the money the state's going to get from all the assessment things, they'll have grants again for us to use, maybe. That's just projecting. And then I truly think that it's tough for me to justify building 2 new wells and a new station with our 40% water loss we have right now. So if we could find that 20%, fix that, that would be less water that we need and more billable water that we have. And I really have a serious problem with, on this bill, there's $10 million for lead pipe removal. 1972 is when the first lead pipe thing was started. I don't know if that's when you had to do it or whatever, but there's no reason why we can't find these lead pipes. I imagine, I'm talking to you, most of them are probably on the south side because it's the older part of town. I just don't know why we can't find these lead pipes, and maybe that's where all the leaking's coming from. Just do the lead pipes, and I think if we did that, so 19% is what they said is a good rate for water loss. If we can catch that 20% off, that would give us more water. It'll be more billable water. If we can do, fix the lead pipes, that's gonna be a lot of the leaks, and that would take 10 million off of that, so the rates wouldn't be as high as when it's over. That's how I would do it as a frugal person. But it was set up this way, I get it, but I just think it's better for the people who can't afford this stuff to have those options that we can maybe do it in pieces instead. So that's why I will be voting against it, probably the lone wolf here, but I just wanted to explain why I'm doing that, because I just don't think, you can't just do this. I know other administrations, like last year, we had to vote for the sewer project, which that's because everybody before Mr. Strick blew it off and used it for other things. So we had to do that. But I think this one could be a little bit more strategically done. It would be better for they're not the taxpayers, because this isn't taxes, this is rates. Right, Charlie? This is rates, not taxes, right?
This increase is on the ratepayers.
Yes.
Correct.
So to make it easier on the ratepayers to be able to do it, instead of in 3 years, everybody owes $25 more a month. So that's why I'm going to vote no, because I think that's the way it should be. So that's all I got. I just wanted to vent a little bit, guys, sorry.
Events noted.
I just want to
Director
clarify.
Cutchins. Yep.
I just want to clarify something that, kind of in relation to what you said there, Todd. You're recommending that we do it in phases, where we do the wells first. Like Anthony said, the wells were more important. That's what phase 1 is doing. Phase 1 is drilling new wells and then working through the design slowly, so that we adequately size the plant for a future construction. We are only voting on the phase 1 and 2. Phase 1 and 2, which covers the first $9 million worth of work, which is wells, some work at the plant site, and design of the plant. You're not voting on the construction of the plant at this time. So I just want to clarify that a little bit. So. Right, and that will come at a future point, but we are doing it in phases. We are doing the wells first. So. The first 2 phases, correct. But you also counted out the full $25, and that's not in effect at this point. Right, but that third section hasn't been approved yet. You're only the first 2 phases. You're adding in that additional $8 that hasn't yet been voted on yet. Right.
Well, that's our decision when that time comes.
That's all I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. Further question, discussion by council members?
I can appreciate what you're saying, Todd. And it would be great if we could have done this project for less money. And the only way we could have done it for less money would have done it 5 years ago. And if we put off any part of this project, it's going to end up costing ratepayers more down the line. I mean, at some time, you kind of have to stop and say, what are the alternatives? I mean, any alternative to not proceeding with it now and pushing it out, I don't know that, you'd have to do a cost-benefit analysis, but I don't know that you're gonna benefit anything, because any money you save temporarily, you're gonna make up later, because you're gonna have to pay more through inflation and other reasons. So, yeah, it's tough to put that out there. I don't know what the alternatives are. And there's a lot of pieces, a lot of things are happening in this rate increase. You know, like you mentioned, you have the lead service line replacement, putting in wells. We're also doing. Yeah,
Absolutely should have, but it wasn't.
yeah, I agree with you.
That's my problem. Things that should have been done, now we want to add 10 million to this thing to make the rates higher.
The Clean Water Act was passed in the 70s, and everything happened from that point till now is nothing that this body has any control over. We have to look at what's in front of us. And taking care of that lead service line, you're right, it may take care of some leaks. Now, we do spend several $1 million a year replacing water mains and doing extensions and that sort of thing. So we're all the time looking for lost water. We have a project this year that we approved. The company's going to come in and evaluate the entire city looking for lost water. And we'll get a report for that. And so we're constantly looking to improve the system because we want it to be sustainable. You want it to be as good as you can make it. So a lot of the concerns that you've raised are things that we're working on. Another piece of this entire thing is the rate study for, what is it called, the cost of service. I mean, we have like four parts of this. Everything's coming together at one time. But at the end of the day, the capital projects part of it, it's not going to get cheaper. It's going to cost more. And you have some assumptions, and I can guarantee the only assumption that we're probably sure of is that it's going to cost more. And reluctantly, that's why I'm in favor of it, because I don't see any way around not fixing what's broken, and not taking care of the lead service lines. Things that need to be done.
Well, what we're not taking into consideration here is, I've been on council a long time, and we've kicked this can around for a long time, but 10 years ago, the money-wise with inflation and stuff was as bad as it is today. It's just numbers were staggering then to the people because they weren't making as much money as they are now. So it's just a relative thing, you know. The longer we go, the higher it's going to go, and the more money they're making, and inflation's going up. So this is, it's never going to be any different, you know. It's always going to be, whether it's now or 5 years from now or 10 years ago when we should have done it. You know, it's just 10 years ago, the people were still screaming and hollering. So it's just a matter of, now it's down to the point where it's got to be done. It's just a dollar thing that, you know, with inflation and stuff, you used to be able to buy 5 gallons of gas for $1. You know, you can't do that anymore. It's just weren't making the money it's making today. Now look at the price of houses in the last year; they've doubled. It's just a money thing.
That's just according to the state assessment, so.
Todd, I sympathize with your take that the lead pipes should have been replaced sooner, but then you're turning around and saying we should delay the water plant, and then in the future somebody will say, well, why didn't you do that sooner? So you're using the same argument, the flip side of the argument for one part, and see what I mean?
That's why I asked the question, what's more important, the wells or the water or the
Right.
filtration department?
But 10 years ago, somebody said, what's more important, doing the lead pipes or doing something else? And apparently we did something else, and so now we have to do it because the EPA is involved. Right? That's why we have to do the sewer project.
But the EPA's been involved for a long time.
Right, but the EPA runs out of patience eventually.
Right.
What happens?
So to clarify one element on the lead service lines, it is only in recent years that the federal statute around this has gotten to a mandate of you have to do this within the next decade. So that's what puts the urgency of doing it now, whereas past generations, it was more discretionary. The mandate is new since 2021, I believe. Began being formulated, I think, under the Obama administration, continued through the Trump administration, and was finalized under the Biden administration. And so it has been a bipartisan directive from the federal government.
How long will the plant last as it currently is? How bad is it? Because I was told when we were talking about sending the water to Andrews that we were good on water.
Water supply, yes.
Yes.
And if the South Water Plant fails, it will be devastating to our community, and I would prefer not to wait until the crisis arrives.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Director
I don't really-
Kretschus.
Yeah, I don't know that I have much to add, other than you typically design a plant for 50 to 75 years. We're there. That's how old our plant is. It's wore out. Being the style of plant that it is, we can't enlarge its capacity physically. Again, would still offer the chance for council to come out and take a look at it and compare the two plants, the modularity of the north plant versus the hard physical construction of the south plant. The clear wells and everything in the basement of the south plant are concreted in. You can't physically make them larger without removing walls, exterior walls to the building. It's just not physically possible the way things were constructed and the way water plants were built back in 1978, 79. So it just physically be enlarged. You can't fit pumps and everything back down in the basement in the way current construction is. So fortunately, to build a plant that's going to keep growing with the city doesn't fit in the current building.
I understand that, but it's still functional, it's still working, and
Today, yes.
yeah.
Also, we gotta look at it, 40 years ago, what was our population, you know? I mean, it's just, how many people were we serving then versus today? You know? That plant's worked its fanny off for years and years and years.
Most of the growth's been on the north side, as far as I know, which North Plant would handle, correct? You can't pump all the way across from North Plant could handle the south side, correct? Or am I
The north
wrong?
plant is not large enough to handle the entire capacity of the city. No,
Okay.
no, not. That's why we have to have both plants. And the growth hasn't been primarily on the north side. We've got subdivisions growing on the south side regularly. So we've got 2 subdivisions out there plus an industrial park. We are seeing growth on the south side.
Where's the line for the two? How far up does the south one cover?
That's not a straight line across the city that we can draw. I'd have to show you a map on that one. It jogs across the
Okay.
city.
We've also got 2 industrial parks too that we built.
Yep.
Further question or discussion by council?
I was
Charlie?
going to say, I thank Annette for giving me a tour of the facility here a few weeks ago. And yes, it's running, but just to walk around the current facility, tell that it needs work, it needs replaced. It's got a lot of technology in it that we're using now. Large cisterns, open pits and things like that, that'll all be eliminated under a new plant. So the new plant will be a lot more efficient and a lot better design than what this current plant is. Of course, that's the advantage of technology and time. But the current facility, in a way, it's time for replacement.
Jeff, this is a question for you. I don't have any of the old papers with me, but was there numbers that were put together of what this project would have cost 10 years ago?
No, we did not look at that as part of the, so Chapman mentioned about the increase in costs, right? We know for sure it's gone up. But I would say, and Anthony can probably speak to this as well, just within the last probably 12 months, anecdotally, capital cost, infrastructure costs, particularly with plants, has gone up substantially for various reasons. Geopolitical, also just economic development with the state. There's just much more supply going on. Contractors are bidding premiums, et cetera. So we've seen, just even most recently, spikes in infrastructure costs.
Anthony, put you on the spot here. I know some of the initial studies back around 2017, 2018 had some estimates associated with them. It's not quite 10 years ago, but my recollection is there's been a significant increase even since then.
There has. I was even shocked when I saw the numbers. I'll tell you what the North Plant, now it's not apples to apples because it's not the same size, but the North Plant back in 2010 to 11 was like $6 million. In the last couple of years, we're seeing increases of 20 to 30% a year in construction. That's due to a number of factors. Labor is becoming harder to find people, so contractors are going to do the work. It's going to cost more. Materials, a lot of this stuff is with SRF steel has to be made in the United States, and that does increase cost. You can tell that just by looking at certain water main jobs. Another thing is, you have to hit Davis-Bacon wages. So you're paying union wages to build these things. And those wages have gone up quite substantially in the last several years. So I don't remember the exact numbers in this study back from 2017, but, if you start looking at straight line inflation, you can go from 6 million to 25 million pretty quickly. Over the time. So whoever asked the question about if it can cost more, it will cost more next year. It will cost more the year after that. It will cost more the year after that. And regulation does change, so at that time you might have to do more. So it's never good to wait.
Further comment or question from council? Thank you, Anthony. Not seeing or hearing anything further from council, I do want to add my own comment on the matter, particularly with two items. The first is, this is a hard decision for anyone in leadership. We all pay those same rates, and none of us want to increase rates. And if it were possible for us to be able to achieve this work without the rate increase, I know we would all jump at that moment. Recognizing that is why this council and the city have established a payment plan system to help people when they get behind on their bills, because we know that life happens, incomes fluctuate, people on fixed incomes often don't get an increase that keeps up with the cost of living. And for those of us in the room that are confessing followers of Christ, we have an obligation to look out for our neighbors and assist in those situations when we need to. And stepping away from my pulpit for a moment, I think it's also important to recognize that any organization as complicated as a city is required to walk and chew gum at the same time. We have to tackle multiple projects at once within our means and our ability to do so. And I believe that we've done a good job here in bringing a necessary project forward for consideration and working hard with our partners at Baker Tilly, Lockmuir, and with the state of Indiana have achieved an interest rate that, especially on this first portion, functionally because of what we can anticipate in inflation and other costs of living increases, is free money in many regards. And so it will be hard, and there will be folks who struggle, and it's our duty as their neighbors to pick up and bear one another's burdens when that struggle appears, while we still do the responsible thing and don't kick this to the next generation to deal with. So with that, any further comment or discussion by council members? Thank you. With that, we will call the question on second and final reading of approval of ordinance 7C25. Julie?
Johnson?
No.
Rensberger?
Yes.
Brodigan?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Felton?
Yes.
Funk?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving along then to second and final reading of ordinance 8C25. Julie?
Ordinance number 8C25, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Huntington, Indiana, authorizing the acquisition, construction, and installation of certain improvements for the waterworks system of the City of Huntington, Indiana, the issuance of revenue bonds to provide the costs thereof, the collection, segregation, and distribution of the revenues of such system, the safeguarding of the interests of the owners of such revenue bonds, and other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of such bonds, and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
Is there a motion to bring ordinance 8C25 to the floor for consideration and adoption on second and final reading?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second regarding ordinance 8C25. Further discussion and consideration by council members. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, then we will call the question in favor and approval on second and final reading of ordinance 8C25. Julie?
Rensberger,
Yes.
Brottigam,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Belton,
Yes.
Funk,
Yes.
Johnson.
No.
Motion carries. Moving along under new business. First reading of ordinance 9C25. Julie?
Ordinance 9C25. This ordinance, if adopted, would vacate an alley right-of-way located north of Gay Street, east of Condit Street, south of Superior Street, and west of Jackson Street, all within the city of Huntington.
Is there a motion to bring ordinance 9C25 to the floor for consideration and approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Director Keplinger.
Yes, come before you tonight in representation of 9C25. I know the petitioners are here this evening, so if you have questions for them or if there's anything I don't cover, feel free. This is a 14-foot, basically north-south alley, as Julie said, that is located on the south side of Superior Street between Condit and Jackson Streets, in the area of 1305 and 1243 Superior Street. I believe the clerk's office has advertised the public hearing, obviously for this evening, sent out notice to all the utilities and the department heads. I believe we've heard back from everybody. So everybody has in fact signed off, and so the ordinance before you tonight would vacate 9C25.
Questions by council members?
There's been no opposition from anybody?
I don't handle the notice and this is the one thing, I'm the map guy, so.
Yep.
Yeah, Julie says no.
Further question or discussion by council members? Not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of ordinance 9C25 on first reading.
Brottigam,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Belton,
Yes.
Funk,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Rensberger.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Bryn, this is not time sensitive, correct? Okay, so we'll have second and final reading at the next meeting then. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while coming, right? So. Yep.
2 weeks.
All right. Moving along then, we have a CF1 form, compliance form from Incipio Devices. Julie?
We have two CF1 personal property compliance forms from Incipio, and Christy wanted me to let you know that everything is in order with those.
Is there a motion from council to receive the compliance forms that have been submitted by Incipio?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration by council members.
It's signed by Kendall Mickley, so I'm sure it's all in order.
Further discussion and consideration of the compliance forms? Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of receiving the CF1s from Incipio. Julie?
Chapman,
Yes.
Belton,
Yes.
Funk,
Yes.
Johnson,
Abstain.
Rensberger,
Yes.
Brottigam.
Yes.
Motion carries. Any items for the good of the order under miscellaneous this evening?
Yes, I've got a couple things, actually. Somebody reached out to me about asking the city what it would take to reach out to Tesla and talk about EV chargers.
I've talked with Mr. Shoemaker as well.
Okay, little stats for you. From what I know, Tesla covers the cost. Tesla takes care of the upkeep of them. And all EVs can utilize Tesla chargers, not just Tesla vehicles. And also Tesla chargers are used as a destination stopping point. If anyone knows how Tesla works, you've got a big screen right there in the center, and it'll pretty much GPS where the local chargers are for people to stop at and charge their vehicle. So it does make it a destination point on a map for those drivers. Are you going to respond to that?
I can if you'd like.
Go ahead if you'd like.
So as I shared with Mr. Shoemaker, I think it's a great idea, and there's nothing in local ordinance that would prevent him or any other property owner from reaching out to Tesla. We've had some business owners in the past that have expressed interest in this, and with Tesla providing all of the upfront capital and everything else, the reality is that it's something that they could do. It doesn't require the city to take any step or initiative to make this happen. The potential site that he identified in our conversation would be to put it in public parking down by the courthouse. And while I can appreciate that the city of Warsaw has something similar set up, my reluctance to that would be that at the courthouse in particular, and with any on-street parking, we are not trying to encourage people to sit there for hours charging their vehicle or otherwise. We want there to be turnover in those kinds of parking spots. But I do think there's a number of businesses in the community that would benefit from this if they so choose to do so on their property. There are some public places that could consider it as well, but that would be the library, not the city, or other things of that sort, or places of that sort. Again, my fundamental piece for this is that there is nothing preventing any resident in the city of Huntington from reaching out to Tesla and pursuing this, and I would encourage and wish them well in doing so.
Is there any, I don't know how much power they put out, will that affect our having one of those?
We have adequate power supply to add in those kinds of chargers.
Okay.
Yep.
The other thing I would like to add is I live on Tipton Street, east of Byron, actually between College Avenue and Leopold. And I've got to give full credit to Atlas. They came in and did a very fast job through the work that they needed to do down Tipton Street. Living on the street, yes, it's a mess. We all witness it. We all deal with it. But this project's going to be very nice when it's all done. So deal with the headaches, whatever. Some of those Atlas workers are driving an hour and a half to and from work every day. So they're easily putting in an 11-hour day. I would ask that people don't have any road rage towards them because of the work that they have to do. So they're doing a very good job going down the street. Just want to give them that credit.
Will Tipton be done before division starts, or are they going to both go at the same time? Is that a bad question? I'm sorry.
Sometimes when you walk and chew gum, you get it in your hair. Adam?
Yeah, so, I guess, Tipton Street, specifically the area near Division and
Yeah.
the work on Division Street that Atlas has done. I do think there's a good likelihood that the majority of that work will be done before the rest of Division Street gets underway. We are working, they've been up there the last couple of days waiting on some final utility relocations to happen on Division Street so that the contractor can start to mobilize in on that one. But
Are they going all the way to First, Adam?
no, Division Street project will be from Guilford to Canfield. The long-term control plan project that Atlas is doing went from Canfield to Tipton. The section of that one last final block doesn't need any structural repairs underneath the roadway. It'll need a resurfacing in the coming future, but we're gonna wait till all the heavy construction gets done before we do that.
Thank you.
And the original plan, of course, was for division to be done last year during the construction season, but due to some of the utilities not relocating in a timely manner, we lost the construction season.
Well, that was a good call to wait, too. It would have really been a mess.
Going to be a mess no matter what. It's a 30-foot trench with a 6-foot pipe. So it will be painful, it will be difficult, and we will continue to soldier on as the good people of Huntington have for decades. Any other miscellaneous items for the good of the order? Okay, not seeing or hearing any at this time. Motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Great.
Wasn't that exciting?
Nope, I'm off.
The last one.